Alright, you guys, so I'm not even gonna do an intro. We're just gonna get right into this video. I'm already getting messages and text messages and calls about like what's going on. They want the breakdown, yada yada yada. So I'm gonna give you a little backstory of my position and how I got this job and basically what's going on and all these things. So back in May, I was applying for jobs, looking everywhere because I had just quit Vaughn's and I just was like, I need a job. Don't care what it's doing, don't work it where it's at, but I didn't want to be in food. So I was like, I'll look somewhere in retail. So I found this job on Indeed. When I first got the job, it seemed really cool, really chill. My manager, he seemed really cool, really chill, but then things began to escalate really quickly. I had coworkers tell me like he was saying he was sleeping with me. I had people tell me that he was looking at people on the internet and like their addresses, their phone numbers, all these things, and it just gave me really much creepy vibes. He was saying certain things about certain drivers that shouldn't have been said, and so at that point in September, I put in my 2 weeks because I was uncomfortable, and I was just like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I put in my 2 weeks in September, and I worked like a week and a half, and then I basically, after that happened, everyone was quitting. Everyone was like, doing their disappearance. At this time, they were losing a lot of employees already just because of this guy. And yeah, so at this point, this company bought over Bevmo. So when the company bought over Bevmo, it became Bevmo times GoPuff. And I believe GoPuff had this really big vision of just like coming out, taking over California with the delivery services and all these things, which I believe GoPuff is a really good company. It was a really good idea, and I felt like they just kind of went about the wrong way. So what they did was they had us to bring in so many drivers. People were just sitting there getting paid like 20 bucks an hour just to sit in our parking lot, which had became very frustrating and misleading once they start cracking down and breaking down hours and taking away hours. A lot of that frustration had came to us, and like we were getting yelled at, screamed at, disrespected, and all those things. That's another reason why I left, because I just felt like the company itself was doing way too much too quickly. Like, they came out here, they got a few stores, they set up shop, boom, we launched. Like, literally, we had like over 20 drivers a day getting paid at 20 bucks an hour. So they were giving out like this American dream, all this money, and then eventually they started cutting the hourly wages down, cutting the hours down, and all that backlash just sort of came to us because we were the managers, we were the leaders. So it was like, what's going on? Help us, help us, help us. And I just felt bad because these people's lives, like, they're basically depending on this money to take care of their kids, take care of their households, take care of their luxury needs. Whatever the case is, you're throwing out $1,000 a week just to bring in drivers. So I understand them, I felt them. So I did everything I can to try to do like to get them paid and to try to help them out. With all that being said, after I left, I kind of was like, I'm separating. At that point, I went to go work at a warehouse. I got a phone call, and it was like, hey, would you ever come back? So I was like, oh, that's so crazy. Asking me to come back, and I was like, I'm not gonna come back in the same position. I need to come back to something more, like, otherwise it's not worth my time anymore. And so I came back as the e-commerce manager, which is where I was last residing. In that position, I love my boss. She was amazing. I think sometimes we're toxic. The store was toxic, and a lot of things just going on so quickly to where like people were lying on me and like lying on people around me and like making false claims. Like, it was a whole story at one time saying that someone had made me pick up glass and pick up bottles, and I'm like, that never happened. So at that point, I was like, I don't want to be in this toxic place anymore. Like, I just was getting, over it pretty quickly. And then from there, I was like, fuck it, I'm getting paid good money. I'm not really doing much. I'm just, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, with getting the orders, helping the drivers out, and just basically keeping the store afloat every single week the orders come in. So it was pretty simple. I was like, I'll stay here, build my ground here, and then I can go somewhere else. So then after that happened, things just happened for me. My mom got COVID, and I just didn't really want to leave her side. I felt like I needed to make sure I was tested, my brother was tested, make sure that we didn't have any symptoms before we go back to work. Even though I didn't feel like I had a COVID or I wasn't really that sick, and I was still able to do things like move around and walk, I just didn't want to have to go to work and then come home, go to work and then come home, because at that point I'm exposing my coworkers and everyone else to COVID. And my brother, he didn't go to school because same thing, he's exposing his classmates to COVID. And I just felt like, with COVID being so huge and so deadly and so just crazy at this time, I didn't want to be spreading it around or giving it to my store or anything like that. So as soon as I find out, I went to COVID relief, and I just kind of stayed at home for 10 days just to make sure I was good, make sure my sore throat was gone, make sure my symptoms were gone, make sure I wasn't sick at all. Like, I didn't want to go into the world sick at all. We weren't going outside much, just kind of like minimal, getting groceries and sanitizing, taking medication, and making sure that everyone in the house is straight. I called my HR, and I was like, hey, I'm supposed to go back to work. Am I gonna go back to work? She was like, just hold off. Give me a second. I heard some things about you. I'm not too sure what's going on, but I heard some things about you. So I'll give you a call when I find out. Just hold tight at this point. So I'm like, okay, what did I do? Whatever. So I was just thinking, like, the company doesn't really know what's going on. Like, the company doesn't know what's going on. It's just really all over the place, and just like everyone trying to figure out this. She was working from home. Her kids were screaming, so I figured she was frustrated. It was the weekend, so she probably was off. I'm probably calling her personal phone, so it was probably like, dude, it's the weekend. Give me a break. The holiday came, and then this morning is when I got the call, and they had told me that they were going to lay me off because the position that I'm in, which is the e-com manager, was getting eliminated because they no longer needed an e-com manager. Since we had an omni manager and an assistant manager, my position was no longer needed. And since I couldn't really do anything else in the store that's gonna make me that much money, they wanted to just lay me off, or they can send me to Burbank. I live maybe 45 minutes from Burbank. I'm not about to be going to Burbank at 7 o'clock in the morning to be a receiving lead. So I was like, you know what? That's it. So I didn't do anything. I didn't harm anybody. I didn't choke anybody. I didn't get rude anybody, disrespect anybody or anything. So don't put that character on me, because that's not who I am. I didn't get fired. I got laid off because they took the position out, which means that a lot of more things could be going wrong. They could be losing drivers. They can be actually taking GoPuff and keeping it only in Philly. It cannot be succeeding in certain areas. Our store can probably not be an omni store anymore, which means that a lot of drivers that work at our store might be going to different locations if that does happen. Not saying that it will, but it can happen, so be mindful about that. Yeah, but as far as like anything happened, like, I didn't get fired, so y'all can quit texting me and calling me and asking me if I got fired. And yeah, basically was that. That's my story. That's my journey. That's how I got to GoPuff, and that's basically what it is. I believe GoPuff is an amazing company. Their stock is shitty. Yeah, true. Their policies are not there all the way, but they're a new company. They're building, they're learning, and they're progressing. So with that being said, I wish them the best of luck, and I hope that they have an amazing launch. Like, they continue to push forward and go through with their business, and I hope that they, you know, make bigger stores and more stores. I hope they give the drivers what they deserve and just kind of make it through what their vision is for this company. As for me, I won't be going back to Bevmo again. First time was bullshit. Second time was just, it was okay. You know, it wasn't like the best, but it wasn't the worst either. And I won't give third time a charm. They have offered me positions saying that I can go work at any other Bevmo store, but I'm actually going to go to esthetician school and just focus on what I want to do, and that's it. So that's the story, that's the journey, and I hope that you guys take this into consideration that I'm making this video so that people can quit asking me questions about what's going on and am I okay and what did I do and blah blah blah, because I didn't do shit. Okay, I'm okay, I'm fine. Trust me, I'm about to sit here and collect for a little bit and then get up and do what I'm supposed to do. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see new videos and updates of me, what's going on, what's been popping in my life, subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good night, guys. Peace.